Hi there, welcome to Cooking with Kenny G. Now in today's video, we're going to be doing one of the foundation series. Now this video is a bonus 2-for. I'm going to be showing you how to do 2 things for the price of 1, although the video is free. Now I'm going to be taking this bad boy, show you how to cut it up into usable pieces, take the byproduct and turn it into the real deal chicken stock. Now this chicken stock will form the foundation of a good soup, a good sauce, a pasta dish. This isn't a big investment in time for prepping. You'll just have to be around while it's cooking, but you don't have to babysit this recipe. On my channel, I want to help you level up your cooking game with videos, pro tips, techniques, and tutorials. Make your time in the kitchen more fun and enjoyable, and impress you and your guests with all your new skills. To be honest with you, we all gotta eat. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you take your spatula, smash that subscribe button, or maybe just click on it. You don't wanna smash your computer. Check for any links that are mentioned in the description box down below. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video, and there will be some links for printable PDF recipes of this video and of other videos that I've done, so you can start your own pro-level cookbook. Well, yours might look a little nicer than mine. Well used. So let's put on the apron, grab the knives, fire up the stove, get after it. Now we're gonna start cutting this chicken up. So I have a chef's knife. I know it looks kind of big for cutting a chicken, but there's a reason for it, and I'll show you. I've got a couple of bowls here, one for my bones and one for my pieces of chicken that I've cut up. A little bit of paper towel action and maybe have to wipe up, but you're kind of far away, so come a little closer. Now you can see what I'm doing. So let's start cutting the chicken up. First thing I do is I'm going to cut the wingtips off, put them in my bowl, turn the chicken around, cut the other wingtip off. Now if you want these chicken wings, cut them down the joint here, and then those can be utilized for anything you want. If you do lots of chickens, when you have enough pieces in the freezer, you can thaw them out and make chicken wings. So just use the tip of your knife, so you can see you can get right into that joint there. Take that out. Boom. Now I've cut the chicken wings off. What I want to do is take the tip of my knife. You can see that skin that's in there. Just take the skin off. Don't cut into the meat yet. Turn the chicken on its side. Take your finger here where the joint is. Push it out. And then you can take the tip of your knife again. Cut off the chicken leg. Do the same for the other side. You can see there. Just cut that skin off. On this side here, I like to take my thumb, push right in where the joint is. You can see there's a little nugget of meat there. You want to make sure you get that. Cut the leg off there. Now what I want to do is just cut my backbone off here. That's why I'm using a little bit of a bigger knife. Tip on the cutting board, just press through. And put that into my discard pile where my bones are. Now you can see there we have the breast here. So I just take the tip of my knife right down inside here. One side of the rib cage, press through. And the other side of the rib cage. If you can't get quite through, make sure you have the tip of the knife on the cutting board. Press down, it cuts right through. The bones here are quite small, so it's easy to cut through them with the chef knife. So I'll put that into my discard pile. Now what I like to do is take my knife, just put a little cut right here where the breastbone is. Separate it. See that? And then what that'll do is that'll take that breastbone out. You can run your fingers down either side of the breastbone and just pull it out. Just attaches in there. Now you can take your knife, cut it right down the middle. You've got your breast meat here and your 2 legs. Now these are going to be cut up a little bit more. Now we're ready to get to it. So I've got my ingredients together for the chicken stock here. Got the chicken bones. Now I've rinsed the chicken bones off. I don't really need to show you how to do that, but just cold water, rinse them off, get rid of the excess liquid. Put that in the pot there. I've got a carrot. Cut the dirty end off. You don't have to peel the carrot, it's just going into the stock and then it's going to get strained out. So as long as you wash it, get the dirt off. Just going to rough chop the carrot to fairly big pieces. It's going to be cooking for a couple hours. You don't want them too small or they're just going to cook away and disintegrate, and then it might make your stock a little bit cloudy. Celery, rough chop that. I've got half an onion. Just gonna cut that into about 3 pieces and then in half one more time. Let's call it 6. Pretty good at math. Garlic clove, optional. You don't have to put a garlic in if you don't want to. I like to. Another thing you can add in there too, if you have any, or maybe a few mushroom ends, if you've got them lying around, they're actually a good flavor enhancer for it. Umami, if you will. Kind of get back with the stock, there's really only the, we call it the Trinity. And those are onion, celery, and carrots. Or mirepoix again, I guess, if you want to use the French term and be really fancy and impress your guests. All right, time to get this cooking. So what I'm gonna do is take cold water, cover the bones and the vegetables, bring it up to a slow simmer. Now the reason for that is the cold water will keep the pores in the bones open. So what that will do is extract any impurities that are in there, the blood and the proteins. They'll coagulate and come up to the top. Sounds a little bit scientific, but it's not, it's just cooking. You can skim all that off, and those are the impurities that would make your stock kind of cloudy and not look very attractive. If you're gonna use it for a soup, you wanna make sure that your stock is nice and clear. I'm gonna show you that process, so let's get it going. Pot's on the stove. Let's cover the bones with cold water. Make sure you use a high-sided pot or the highest sided pot you can. Reason for that is it's going to keep a lot more of the liquid in the pot. If you have a big open pot, there's a lot more evaporation. As it cooks, the liquid comes up to the top, cools, goes back down to the bottom again, heats up. So it's kind of a cycle, and that causes the water to rotate through the bones. Again, a little bit scientific, but who needs to know that? So once it comes up to a simmer, I'm going to show you how to skim off those impurities, okay? As you can see now, it's started to slowly come up to a simmer. These are all the impurities here that I was talking about, so these are what you're going to want to skim off. I didn't mention in there, or I should mention, that do not stir your stock. This isn't something you want to do with the stock. The reason for that is it's going to make it really cloudy. It's going to break up all the bones that are in there, and then that'll make, again, an unpleasant looking stock. This you might have to do a couple of times. Not going to take a long time though, but you can see when the impurities come up, so you just skim this off. I'll probably do that one more time, and then after that we can add in the rest of the ingredient. You can see there all the impurities that are simmering to the top. Second skim. Not stirring it, I'm just moving those impurities over the side so I can get them with my spoon. This has only been about a minute or two. I just cut it down a little bit. You don't want to watch the stock slowly simmer. I'm going to skim it one more time. It's almost to where I want it. I can see in here that it's pretty clear as it's simmering, so I'll skim it one more time, then I'll add all the other ingredients in. I skimmed it the final time. Now it's time to add in the rest of the flavoring ingredients. So I've got 1 bay leaf in there. I've got the washed parsley stems. Got some fresh thyme that I'm putting in there. You can use dry thyme. You're just gonna have to use a little bit less than the fresh thyme, so it's up to you. I've got peppercorns that I'm putting in there. Just whole peppercorns are fine. And then salt. A little bit of salt, not too much. It's gonna make it salty. You wanna have a little bit in there though for a flavor enhancer, but too much is gonna make it salty as it cooks. And you gotta remember, if you're gonna reduce it down at all too, it's gonna increase the salt. So I usually just put in a couple pinches of salt, or about 1/4 teaspoon in this amount, just to add some flavor to it. So there we go. Let that go for a couple hours. Now you can go do whatever you want to do, but keep an eye on it. Make sure it stays at a simmer, and again, don't stir it, just let it go. Don't cover the stock though. What that's going to do is keep a lot of the impurities driving back down into the stock again, so it's going to actually, some of the flavors will get a little bit too strong that way. So leave it open. Just keep an eye on it, it doesn't evaporate too much, but with a high-sided pot and the fact that it's on a very low simmer, you can walk away from it. Just check it maybe in an hour or so, but like I say, about 2 hours. See you in 2 more hours. Hey, welcome back. 2 hours have gone by. Actually, a little bit more, about 2.5 hours. I turned the stock off about 15 minutes ago, let it cool down a little bit. Reason for that is a lot of the bones and the vegetables at the top are going to float a little bit down. I guess they'll sink, not float, down to the bottom. It makes it a little easier for straining. So what you're going to need is a big enough bowl to hold the volume of the liquid and a little wire mesh strainer. This one's fairly fine. Reason for that, again, you want to catch a lot of the, I guess, larger than the mesh particles that are in there are going to be some that go through. If you want to really dig down, you can use a cheesecloth. I don't really go that far because for what I'm using for, it doesn't really need to be that clear. So let's get this strained. Got a little, I don't know if you can notice over my shoulder or not there, but I actually have a second batch going. So one of the things I didn't mention to you, if you don't want to make it right away, you can cut the chicken and get the bones and wrap them up and freeze them. And then down the road, if you've got, you know, a little bit more collected, you can make a little bit of a bigger stock like I have there. That's got about 4 or 5 chickens worth of bones that are going there. I figured I'd do 2 things at once. So let's strain this off. Why don't you come a little bit closer and then I'll show you. As you can see, just gonna pour that in there. Look at the color of that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Nice golden color. The smell is incredible, absolutely beautiful. You know what, like with a lot of things, you start with a good base, you're gonna have a good finished product too, so there we go. Strain that off a little bit. Boom. As you can see, it catches some of the little thyme leaves that are in there, and then the other bigger stuff that might fall through. And then there is the chicken stock there. So I'm gonna let that cool down a little bit more. Some of the fat's gonna come up to the top, and then I'll show you what I do with it next. All right, look at that. That looks absolutely gorgeous. So I've got these little deli containers. Get them on Amazon. Well, I got these from Amazon anyway. I guess you can look other places, but I'll put a link down below in the description box for the Amazon one. So they actually come in 3 different sizes. There's this size here, the one smaller, and then there's one that's even a little bit smaller. I use these for lots of stuff too. And if you want to be like a real chef, you can even put your ice water in there and drink out of that, like you see on some TV shows. The Bear is one of them. All right, so look at my beautiful chicken stock. I'm gonna pour it in here. Look at the color. I don't know if you can see that, but the color it's like a golden brown color. Put that in there, and then probably a little smaller one here for the last little bit. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, perfect. Get rid of that. So there you go. Out of those 2 chickens that we cut up, this is what we come up with here. So these 2 containers here, this adds up to, this is about 3.5 cups, or if you're places that use metric, this is 750 mils. This is 500 mils, or what's half, 3.5, 1.75. So out of this, you've got about 1.5 liters, or about maybe a little over 4 cups worth of chicken stock. And out of this, you can use to make chicken soup or other recipes that involve a chicken stock that you make. Now the reason for doing this, again, this is like a foundation. Like I said, the foundations of cooking. Having a good stock in your freezer or in your fridge, if you need to make a recipe, you've got this. Again, you know exactly what goes into this. This is all natural, no preserves. I use organic chickens when I did this too, but you can use whatever you want. But you don't necessarily have to use organic chickens for it. The cost savings too, I didn't mention that earlier, so maybe this is another tip that we can add in there. Hashtag tip. You're gonna save a lot of money. It's cheaper to buy a whole chicken. Obviously there's gonna be a little bit of excess waste, but of that waste, you can make a product that you can use, and then you've got chicken breast out of it, you got chicken legs out of it. If you go to a market and see that every time you buy something that's been processed, the producer is going to add more cost to it. So why don't you just do it yourself? You can save yourself a bunch of money. That's what I'm here for. So there you go. We got our chicken stock, soup, sauce, pasta, veggies, whatever you want to use it for. You want to just drink it like a cup of coffee, go ahead. This stuff is fantastic. The flavor is beautiful in it too. So remember, I promised a tip, and it's kind of a chefy thing too. So I want to feel a little bit chefy, I'm going to show you what we do. This is actually the next day. I put the stock in the fridge, let it cool down. So you can see well, you can't quite see, but it's a little bit different color because it's cooled down and kind of solidified a little bit. The fat's come up to the top, which is okay. Now, you can skim that off now if you want, or what I usually do is freeze it. And then when it expands, it actually breaks the fat up a little bit, and then it's a little easier to scrape off when it's frozen. So here's the chefy tip. Green painter's tape to label these. This is very much industry standard, and the reason is it doesn't leave a whole bunch of glue on the container. And also too, the old Sharpie, when you write it on there, you can see it too. And then when it's labeled and in the freezer, you don't have to guess when you made it or what it is. So all we do, Take the tape. I put mine on the cutting board. Reason for that is I can take my knife, square off the edges. Again, that is such a chefy thing. I worked with a chef who used to wrap our knuckles if we did not cut the edges so it's straight. I don't know, that's something that I could never wrap my head around, but after a while you just do it. I'm gonna write down chicken stock, the date I made it. Boom, take my knife, cut. If you want, just wipe off if there's any condensation on there. Pick it up off the cutting board. Label on there, lid on, so now that can go in the fridge for probably up to about a week, or freezer. I wouldn't go any more than 6 months. I generally use mine much quicker than that. There you go, foundations, back to the basics, chicken stock. Hey, thanks again so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video and learned something, hit the thumbs up button down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Also leave some comments down below, and I will see you in the next video.